jifundishe, elimika na mwelimike.
Heroes Day in Jamaica. Who is a hero?
In this human marketplace.
How does one become a hero? Who is your first hero? Can the heroes of the oppressed be the heroes of the oppressor?
When there was slavery time.
What you want and what you will, working for your dollar bill. Sad to see the old slave mill is grinding slow but grinding still. Walking home a youth gets killed, police free to shoot at will. Sad to see the old slave mill is grinding slow but grinding still. 9 to 5, you know the drill. Weekends are a short-lived thrill. Sad to see the old slave mill is grinding slow but grinding still. Cup run it over till it spill. Take until they've had their fill. Sad to see the old slave mill is grinding slow but grinding. Some of us think we're too big. God, the system gives us jobs, even though it's just a low-paying gig. Some of us will boast and brag, and those of us who think we're smart, just because we don't have much. It's really not the case at all. It's riches that the flesh can't touch. Some of us won't respect names. Some of us won't respect laws. Some of us don't respect life, even though we worship God. And some of us won't let go faith, no matter what the price may cost. Some of us won't practice hate, but God will still believe in love. What you want and what you will, working for a dollar bill. Sad to see the old slave mill is grinding slow but grinding still. Walking home, a child gets killed. Neighbors free to shoot at will. Hurts to see the old slave mill is grinding slow but grinding still. 9 to 5, we know the drill. Weekend such a short-lived thrill. Sad to see the old slave mill is grinding slow but grinding still. Cup run it over till it spill. Take until they've had their fill. Sad to see the old slave mill is grinding slow but grinding. Most of us think we're too good, just because material gain. If we were living as we should, then less of us would be in pain. And those who are misunderstood, they still deserve a voice to claim.
So away from Africa, with the intention to steal our culture. That's good for the past by and said, humble yourself, my children. Humble yourself, my little one. Humble yourself. Oh,
Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis. Heroes Day 2018. And the cycle goes on. Who is a hero? Hero is masculine. Heroine is feminine. A hero, according to the definition, is a real person or a character in a literary work.
where is your love, Jamaica?
A real person
Where is your
or a character
love, Jamaica?
in literature.
I can see your love, I can see your love, touch your love, I don't know.
Who in the face of danger fights adversity through bravery, strength, and ingenuity. A hero. Tinastilin, greetings, peace, prosperity, consciousness, movement of thought, metamorphosis. Dr. Ayman Black, your host, in this month of heritage celebrations on the rock of Jamaica. Month of celebration. In particular, today is recognized as Heroes Day. It is a day when the crown Her Majesty gives recognition to her subjects for what is considered to be a worthy contribution to the Jamaican plantation. So we have to continue to congratulate those who are recognized, because recognition is an important psychological need, perhaps, because oftentimes through recognition one becomes motivated and one becomes aware that whatever one is doing, it is being observed by many and appreciated and loved and various things, you know. So we congratulate those who have been given awards from Her Majesty, and we continue to be a colony of Britain, and we continue to live under disguise of being an independent political nation. And in that sense of deception, I will have to also examine the heroes that we have been given and what type of deception have been pulled over our eyes as it relates to these heroes. So I was started over by outlining a sort of definition coming out of the dictionary. And later on we want to talk about the dictionary, the importance of a dictionary, and who is Noah Webster. How is it everybody runs to Webster's dictionary? Who is this brethren? And how is it him come to compose and construct this book that we all make reference to, and the book that holds meaning and deep beliefs within it, the dictionary. So we're looking at the heroes now from a perspective of the dictionary, and it suggests that, yes, because of the masculine, the patriarchal constructions in the Western world, we all hear about the female heroes, so they call them heroines. But heroin is a drug, so I don't really think the sound connects to the activity that we're trying to identify. So shero might be better than a heroine. So we have heroes and we have sheroes. Now the word hero suggests that it can exist in two dimensions. A hero can be a real person, or it can be a character now in literature. And here's where I want to add and pay some attention to. Because a lot of the heroes that we have been presented to in our lives as Africans on the plantation in the West are heroes through literature. Yeah. So we have to recognize these dimensions, know how we get presented to heroes. So the real person now is a different character from the character who's in literature. Pardon. Now, the characteristics of a hero are consistent. The hero have to be able to face danger. The hero have to be able to fight against adversity, combat adversity. And through powers now of ingenuity, which is thought power, mind, bravery, and strength. One of the first characteristics of a hero, you know, is bravery. It's hard to be a hero and you're not brave. But if you're brave and you're not applying your ingenuity, you will die quickly because you're going to appear to be foolish. So the hero also has sometimes objectives that are beyond them individual self. That oftentimes they are involved in events that are way beyond their individual self, selfless actions. So the concept of the hero, we find it in classical literature before we get into real life. Classical literature. And we find heroes in biblical history, in biblical literature. So there are certain areas of our academic, intellectual, educational life where we are exposed now to heroes. And heroes now range from mythological figures, in other words, figures that are only in the myth, such as Achilles and Samson and Gilgamesh these heroes are mythological. There are also historical figures that are heroes. And within the Black African struggle now, the historical figures will be people like in the Western plantation, we'll just say Tubman is a hero, but she's a female, so she will be a shiro. There is more contemporary heroes that we can identify right across the African continent and through the Caribbean. And then there are modern heroes, and there are sporting heroes. There are fictional heroes, superheroes, cartoons, comic book heroes, Superman, Batman. So there's a whole range of heroes that are out there. And as I want to look into a little bit closer now to the real life heroes that affect black people. And on Jamaica now we get some real life description of heroes. And these are the people who we have in Jamaica as our national heroes. And the first one is a female. And the first one is grounded in this parish here now of Portland. Then we have Samuel Sharp. And then we have Paul Bogle. And there's a cry for Taki. And then we have George William Gordon. Now up to that point in time, these men were in a situation where they took up a cause. Now today we celebrate these men as heroes and women. But I want us to sort of review how is it the black population get to have these people as our national heroes. And is it really practical that the heroes of the oppressed are the same heroes as the oppressors? Because within the context of the African tradition in the West, our situation has been one grounded in oppression, and our actions has been one driven by resistance. So then if you have heroes coming out of a resistance culture, how is it that those who are controlling the state and in charge of the oppression, how can they embrace those heroes as theirs? Something is amiss. So I'm suggesting that heroes require a perspective, a perception, a sort of, each culture has a way to view their own experiences, and therefore out of each culture develops their own heroes. When heroes are imposed upon a people, like how black people get Tarzan as a hero, that's an imposition. And the heroes now carry with them certain imagery and certain expectations. So we have to be careful now as we review the nature now of heroes and sheroes and the reality of trying to emulate heroes. Because if we were to emulate Sam Sharp and Nani and Bogle in our mentality, the state would rise up and maybe oppress all of us. Because is that what those people did, and the state rise up against them? So something is not kosher. Something is not correct. And the attempt is just to think through it and to come to a sort of awareness within our own selves. Because heroes, they will come again. It's a part of the cycle. And will we continue to just regurgitate the same thoughts every time the cycle comes around? Or will we find a way to make the transition to another level of consciousness, that we are more, even at an individual level, we're more in touch with our identity? Because that is the foundation upon which we build our personality and all the things that make us who we are. So we're going to look into Heroes Day, Heritage Month, and the sources of literature from which we get our heroes. Metamorphosis.
Do you have or are you seeking a place to rent, seeking employment or have a job vacancy? Are you selling a car or having a garage sale? Then come see us. Let Styles do the advertising for you and you'll be on your way in no time. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Advertising Style. Advertise with Styles.
Great news, everyone! DIB Block Factory and Hardware Supplies located at 44 William Street, Port Antonio. Now open every Sunday from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. Stop in and beat the Monday crowd. Get the same great service on a more convenient day. Doing some work on a Sunday, run out of material? No need to worry. DIB Hardware will be there to serve you. Still the #1 supplier in Portland of building materials, hardware supplies, kitchen and bathroom finishes. DIB Hardware Port Antonio, now open this and every Sunday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 44 William Street, Port Antonio. See you there.
This is Ricardo Suave, inviting you to tune into Smoothic, the show for the ladies, with DJ Prestige, from 9 to midnight every Tuesday on Styles 96.1 FM, Portland's best.
I've been watching you.
Guess what? Styles FM has a new business number for you to call, text, and now WhatsApp. 518-2399. To advertise your business and events, call, text, or WhatsApp us on 518-2399. 518-2399. Don't forget, 518-2399. Clifford Guest House, sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Black. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Titchfield Hill, they offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information.
Metamorphosis continuing into an exploration into the whole concept of the hero and the heroine. From a cultural perspective, who does the hero really represent? And how does a hero become murdered and hung? How do heroes, why do these concepts of and these heroes tend to end up being murdered and crucified and all of these things. So what is it about a hero? So that we spend time glorifying heroes when at the same time it's like a reflection of punishment. So we're saying no. African people, black people, brought into this Western world by force. And under that force, we are exposed to treatment that is barbaric. Slavery, chattel slavery. But before we even examine the emotional side of chattel slavery, we look at the effect of the religion on the minds of the African population, and looking at the literature provided by the religious forces, because I'm coming around to heroes, you know, and that how is it as a people we are introduced to heroes in the Western plantation from the days of the slavery days. And I'm saying we get that introduction through the Sunday school system, and in attending that Sunday school we are exposed to literature. We are exposed to biblical literature. And in that literature there are characters. And many of these characters in our early life, if you ask yourself where your first set of heroes come from, don't be surprised if you search yourself, it comes from out of the Bible. Check yourself. In your early life, and I mean early life, you know, when you're 3, 4 years old, 5 years old, where would you be able to draw the idea of a hero from? Because we just said earlier, you know, hero is either a real life person or is a character in literature. And I'm saying no, our first exposure to literature is English literature. And that English literature was established and constructed in a book. And that book we call the Bible. So if we want to search now for a source of maybe our first ideas and embracing of heroes, we might have to actually look into the Bible. Because you go to Sunday school, and if you don't go to Sunday school, your parents go to church. So the Bible now becomes a reference book. So check yourself now and see who you think in the Bible world is your first hero. Because I can just take one off the top of my head. I can just say Samson. Samson was a hero within the biblical context. Because remember now, you know, him symbolizes the strongest man. So him fight lion with bare fists, bare hands. So you see the bravery now and the ingenuity and all of these things. It manifests, it's supposed to be embodied now in a hero. So as a little youth, the first literature we expose is Bibles, first story we expose, so we start get Bible heroes. David become a hero when we read the story of David and Goliath. Yeah, and we begin to get images now of what the hero look like physically, because it's people being described through characterization. So Samson must have a look, David have a look. And when we check ourselves, I will check the literature we get. Well, I'm suggesting today that one of the most profound and important heroes that most of us hug up without knowing is Moses. Because in the literature, Moses is projected as a savior. It's Moses who saved the people from the wicked hands of the Pharaoh. It's Moses who freed God's people. It's Moses who do this. It's Moses who get the commandments of this. And so them established in our consciousness before we even get to public school a set of images that represent heroes. And heroes carry within it certain ideals and conduct and way of behavior, etc., etc. But as African people now, we have to check ourselves. and ask ourselves, what is it that we identify in our individual that we can classify them as a hero? Because if we deal with it from a position of resistance, then the hero could never be in line and in tune with the power structure. Because it is the power structure that is holding the majority in a state of oppression. So whenever a hero, a leader, because really about leadership now, you know. Whenever a leader emerges out of the belly of the oppressed people, that leader is marked as a troublemaker. That leader is hounded. And sometimes his own people are organized to fight against him. And the state will never stop, will never cease until them get rid of him. And then the same state turn around now and honor that man or that woman and turn that person into a statue. And the revolution of the mind stop because everything goes into stone. So we don't move our thoughts beyond the images in stone because that looks like the final point. So we could check the hero concept. We could recognize that we also develop sporting heroes early. Yes, because it's also about worshipping. Because we tend to have a concept of hero worshipping, where we worship the heroes. So it's not just in the religious world now we have heroes. We find them early in our life in the world of sports. And oftentimes the heroes that we identify in sports become motivators and inspiration to achieve and to go forward and to do things, etc., etc. There are also political heroes. As we move along the line of knowledge from basic school and we start getting to high school and we start learning about politics and we begin to see men and women who identify as brave and respectful and, you know, have interest in the masses and so on and so forth. So that's just a scan of what the whole concept of a hero or a heroine ought to be from a definition perspective. But we're going to come into real life and look at heroes now that have impacted I and I as people in real life. Because the biblical heroes are characters. And these characters are only characters. They don't have any real life to them. But the indoctrination through the religious system and education system make us believe that these characters are real and that the events in the literature are real. In real life, for a hero, let us look at Nanny. And why is it that Nanny, as a heroine, in a place like Portland, is not more highlighted? Why is Nanny not at the forefront, symbolizing and representing Portland? Paul Bogle and St. Thomas are more closely aligned as identity for the parish and his activities than I think what's happening in Portland and Nanny. But I want to give the item a perspective on Nanny. A perspective that may help to explain our own selves as a people on this rock. Metamorphosis.
Marcus Garvey words come to pass. Marcus Garvey words come to pass. Can't get no food to eat. Can't get no money to spend. Oh, can't get no food to eat. Can't get no money to spend. Oh, come the right hand to ignite shall be spanked with many stripes. Weeping and wailing and mourning. You got yourself to blame. I tell you, the right. I beg you, tell you to do right.
Yeah, Marcus Mosiah Garvey has been declared one of Jamaica's, our first national hero. That was defined and determined by the government. The government meaning the political parties. What was their motivation? Only they know. But Marcus Garvey, being recognized as the first national hero, you would anticipate that the teachings and the philosophy and all about Garvey would swamp the nation from the basic school up. But that's not true. That's not true. So the teachings of our first national hero is not a part of the culture. So what is causing the disconnect? Why is it a person who's declared a hero by the political administration not being placed in the center of the culture and the consciousness of the population? Why is it every year there's this argument about Garvey should be taught in the schools? Yeah, you see, it's a hypocritical construct when the opposition to the liberation of the people defines who must be the heroes. It's paradoxical and it's contradictory and it don't call no progression. Stalemate. Because in the reality, what Garvey represented is still opposed strongly by the planter class and those who have the wealth in the country. So this honoring was hypocritical. It's hypocritical. And much more wholly for the honoring, when you see the Queen honoring, is hypocritical. Because it's like a man that try light a fire in your house and burn it down. And you know. But you're going to find a time for compliment him for making good matches. Some foolishness like that. It's hypocritical. So you put the man at the highest level of the national heroes. But whatever the man taught is absorbed by all societies outside of Jamaica. Yeah. All other nations, even the Vietnamese, the Orientals, the Chinaman, grab hold of Garvey's philosophy. But at the basic difference, and what separates Garvey's philosophy from those who rule Jamaica, is that Garvey said race first. Yeah, race first. And them ask him to leave quickly. Because the idea of race first is very disturbing in Jamaica and frightening. And when Paul Bogle said skin for skin and race first, it raised up the British and the white man them sent for munitions and reinforcement. Yet them turn him now also into a hero. So it's a kind of puppy show thing, you know. It's a puppy show thing. So we're careful now how them honor the people who oppose them and have us thinking that they are with them. They are not. They are never with them and they are never with us. So Nanny now, for example, nobody really have an image of Nanny. But the events and activities of Nanny seem to be well documented by the British in particular. So we get a version of Nanny coming straight out of Britain. We have the European white man version of Nanny. And we also have the same perspective of what happened with Nanny in Portland. It's the British tell we all these things. But it's through them so subtle and them lie and deceptive. We are querying now. And we want to find a different way to look at Nanny. We want to look at her from the lens, not from the British, but from the lens of the Moors. Moors. So Portland people, I want to wake up now. Because this reason really I got started on Saturday morning with on Shaka program and wasn't able to complete it. So it's about Nanny, it's about Portland. And why is it a statue of Nanny can't come into the town? Why Nanny has been put way up into the mountains and is unwilling to be, why is it unwilling to integrate Nanny into the center of the town and the center of the parish? What does Nanny really represent in real terms as a hero, a shiro? Well, I think from my perspective, and I'm giving it to you from black perspective, Nanny seems to be the only person on the hero list that wasn't born in Jamaica. If I am wrong, I stand to be corrected. But everybody else seemed to be born in Jamaica. So Nanny now have a history that requires a little bit more exploration so we can know who she is and maybe help people in Portland know who they are. Nanny, it is recognized and noted, came out of West Africa. He was a West African, and more importantly than a West African, she was a Moor, M-O-O-R, Nanny of the Moors. Now the Moors are a very important set of black people, Africans, and their contribution to world history is very important, the Moors. If I had a chance to go to basic school again, I would demand that, not really myself go there as a child again, but if I had a chance to be involved in a basic school, I would certainly have on my curriculum the history of the Moors. And that would be attached to teaching about Nanny as our hero. Because the Moors, coming out of West Africa now, the Moors are Africans. And we're talking about now Africans now in the period of the 1200s. In the period of 700 AD, 500 AD. We're talking about those period of history wherein we only get a European version of what's happening in that time, and our only other connection is to New Testament. But while the New Testament history is going on, there are Africans doing some serious things on the western coast of Africa. The Moors now are a set of black people who really are responsible for bringing culture and knowledge to Spain. The Moors invaded Spain. They were led by an African named Tariq ibn Ziyad. And the Moors carry into Spain all of the elements that is required for barbarians to become civilized. And if you wonder why the Spanish have so much blackness in them, is because of that early domination of Africans in that part of Europe. So Spain and Portugal, occupied by the Moors. The Moors, from a level of identity now, were not just Africans in their race, they were Muslims in their religion. And this is the point I want to bring across, more importantly about Nanny, that Nanny was a Muslim. And when we learn about Nanny in our British education system, this is never mentioned. They don't tell you about the religious identity of Nanny. So we know that at the level of race, she was an African. At the level of gender, is a female. And at the level of religion, is a Muslim. Now, we also need to factor in that it is the Muslims that really bring culture to Spain. Muslim culture. So when Columbus eventually reached into the Caribbean region, there were a lot of Moors in Columbus' ship. A lot of the maps, a lot of the directions to travel were established by the Moors. And it's from the Moors, the Spanish got their information and knowledge of how to travel. So, Nani now comes to this place, and she comes as a Muslim. And we have to know that now, by the time the British get here, the Muslims have been here from the days of the Spanish. The Moors have been here on this island from the 1490s, when Columbus found his way onto this island. So African people have been on this island long before the transatlantic slave trade really got going in the 1600s. And a lot of these Moors who came with Columbus were freedmen, free Africans. So Nani comes with a religious identity. And that identity gives her the confidence to know that no British, no white man can defeat her. Because in the history of Europe, it is the Moors who brought the culture and knowledge to Spain and brought the same culture and knowledge to the Portuguese. So by the time the British get caught up into this thing now and find themselves in a position to engage the Africans in the mountains, it was a religious war. We have to factor in now that it is Muslims versus Christians, because that is what the British represented. They represented the Anglican Church. And the war between the Muslims and the Christians, which has been going on for so long before, was maintained right here on Jamaica Island. And there was no way that the Christians were able to defeat the Muslims. Even to today, there is still that struggle. So Nani remained victorious. The Christians had to turn away. And if you check our other heroes, Bogle and Sam Sharp, these men were Christians. They all got hung. Nani was of a different character. Nani was a Muslim. And the Muslim had no respect or fear for the British, knowing that they were our superior culture, knowing that they were the ones who put culture into Europe. So when in today's world we have people now who call themselves Maroons, we have to think about, is Maroon a condition or is Maroon a set of people? Because it is causing a conflict even in our island, within our black population. Some people think the Maroon is a race. I am saying the Maroon is a condition, and we shall explore that condition. Metamorphosis.
Are you sick of living an average life and tired of just getting by? Do you want to take your life to the next level? Learn the secrets of the super successful. Listen to Power in a Half Hour with Coach Mark this and every Wednesday night on Styles FM from 9 to 10 p.m. Learn the habits of the super successful and how to make these habits work for you. Learn to turn your dreams and desires into reality. You can win in the game of life. Let Coach Mark show you how. Every Wednesday night on Styles FM from 9 to 10 p.m.
This feeling is taking over me. I'm so excited.
Feel the euphoria.
Tuesdays from 5 to 9 p.m. with the Master Mixer Musical Maestro Digital Team.
Giving a total satisfaction with melodies and memories by the score. With the widest selection of genres and hits. So you don't know the program you turn up, you know. So you know Patek's a full dance, the one you slap with.
Digital and we are party. Yeah, we flawless. Euphoria the program every Tuesday.
5 to 9. every Tuesday.
With the musical maestro digital team.
Architects, draftsmen, and surveyors, get your drawings printed in high-quality professional standards. We can satisfy your printing needs. Whether it is for presentation to your clients or for submitting building and subdivision application, make it VJ Printing Services. Whether drawing by hand or with computer-aided softwares, we will plot your negatives and print the copies as you need. We do high-quality white paper printing that is water-resistant and never fades, unlike traditional blueprint. For more information, call VJ Printing at 893-2266.
Clifford Guest House, sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Black. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Ditchfield Hill, they offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information.
Trying to locate the roots of the Moors and the journey that Nanny traveled to get here. And what does it really represent as an African versus this idea now of a maroon? So the Moors, one day I spend a little bit of time reflecting on the term the Moors, M-O-O-R-S. And they have transformed that term into M-O-O-R-E-S, which is the name of an Englishman, the Moors. And they have called the place of Nanny's residence in the hills now Moortown. They have taken the E off, they have added on the E to Moor. So Nanny is a Moor. So if you're going to spell Moortown, it's M-O-O-R. Town. There is no M-O-O-R-E. That doesn't represent Nanny. That represents an English family named Moore. So we have to know about the Moors. People of Portland, who no matter talk specifically, and have to know about the Moors if you want to really embrace Nanny and embody the spirit of Nanny and use the spirit of Nanny to transform this region. God need a spiritual transformation. All the economic infrastructure is in place at a undeveloped level. It needs a spiritual awakening, reawakening of this parish. And maybe Nanny is a part of the strategy to free up the town and the parish. So, the Moors, Muslim inhabitants, Muslims, West Africa. And in 711, let's give you in 711 AD, AD mean now in the year of our Lord, in the year 711, the Muslims who are the Moors launch an invasion into the Iberian Peninsula and conquer Spain and Portugal. Now, we don't know that these things are going on because the British not telling us that in our schools here. So when we talk about what's happening in 711 AD, we have to go read New Testament and hear what some man saying about to some churches in some places where we don't even know about. But when we look at heroes in real life, we have to track them historically. So in 711 now, the African army, led by Tariq, rush up and control and overpower the barbarians in Spain and spend quite a number of years there. They were there until 1492. And there was a battle at a place called Granada. And that is where the Muslims were finally defeated. The Moors were finally defeated. And in that defeat now, enough Africans were captured and imprisoned and, empire falling this all. And in that same period now, the Spanish king and Isabella and Ferdinand rise up now in power. Rise up on the legacy of the Moors. Universities established. Cartographers are there. Black people running the place. And so the ships now by the Spanish were sent out under the guidance of many of the Moors. So they are prisoners and they are free men and they are all Africans running the things. So we have to see what going on, that when the Columbus mission reached into this region, 1492, 1494, enough African dip on the ship. And so when they meet the Tainos, and that integration start and the struggle start, enough African take with themselves, enough remained with the Spain, enough of them take with themselves into the mountains. And when the British finally arrived to start for them struggle in 1655 against the Spanish, they had them like a war there, enough more man take with themselves. Because enough man decided them not going to fight for Spain because them is not really Spanish. And the man take with themselves into the mountains. Those runaway Africans from those times, the Spanish call them cimarron. And the word cimarron means runaway. And when you translate that, you get the word maroon. So when you look at, when you understand, when you understand where the term maroon come from, it's really a term that describes a condition. It's not a race of people named maroon. Maroon is a condition. And you can be marooned anywhere. In other words, you're stranded, you're isolated, you're away from the center of things. You're marooned. You can be marooned in space. You can be marooned out at sea. So in Jamaica now, we have developed this idea of maroon being a people. And these people now have been given an identity that's trying to make them be separate and different now from African people. And separate and different from Rastafari. So we just divide up ourselves further by trying to hold on to an identity that really is a condition. So Nani was not a maroon. Nani was a Moor. And the Moors were part of a maroon type of lifestyle because them stay away and they remain isolated. And in all across the Caribbean, you have marooned communities. When rain fall, how heavy in a Portland, and certain community cut off, they are marooned. But the people them there are not maroons and are therefore a different race. They're no longer Jamaican and no longer African. So what we broke down the tribalism and realized first and foremost that our first hero was a Muslim. And that struggle between the Muslims and the Christians is the strength of the Muslims that drove away the British and the psychology and the power. So today, when you go into where the colonel of the Maroons supposed to dwell. As a matter of fact, if you go into Nanny Town, as they call it, one of the symbols to show that the British have fully conquered is when you see the image and the picture of Jesus. Yeah, once you can get the image and picture of Jesus in the Muslim community, it means you have defeated them. And that is what happened to the Africans in this Portland area. That the Maroon culture, the resistance forces of Nanny have been overpowered by the Anglican Church. And so the dependency now has been part of the people's behavior now. Unlike Nanny, who was at the highest level of self-reliance, highest level of self-confidence, the people now have been reduced to dependency and believing in a savior and a comforter. If Nanny had that attitude, the British would have kicked her butt. But she was about self-reliance, self-confidence, self-awareness. Now bow to no imagery that don't look like her. Metamorphosis.
Real hot in the shade, 96 degrees in the shade. Real hot, oh yes, in the shade. Said it was 96 degrees in the shade. 10,000 soldiers on parade. Baby giant eye, meet a big bad boy sent from overseas. The Queen fly. Excellency, before you I come with my representation. You know where I'm coming from. You caught me on the loose, fighting to be free. Now you show me a noose on the cotton tree. Entertainment for you, martyrdom for me. 96 degrees in the shade. Real hot, yes, in the shade. 96 degrees in the shade. Real hot, oh yes, in the shade.
Yeah, metamorphosis. Looking into the whole concept of a hero and a shiro. It's a word now that has lost much value, especially within the context of modern pop culture. And significantly, especially after the 9/11 incident in America, that word became bandied about every other day. Every other day somebody became a hero. And everything that you did know was a hero, and you're a hero. And then songs came out about hero, and a whole heap of things go on around the concept of a hero. But it's an important concept in civilization and society, because it's a symbol of recognition. And within all fields, we seem to find heroes. Some people even create their own heroes. And within that creation of heroes, there is this desire perhaps in people for worshipping things that are bigger than them. So there's always this hero worshipping occurring, where the hero has fans and supporters and rivals and enemies, and a whole host of people surround this hero. Some want to see the hero succeed, some want to see the hero fall. So as Rastafari know, when I speak about hero, can the hero within the Rastafari tradition be the same hero that the Romans embrace? Because the Romans have them heroes. Roman society. And even before Rome, there was Greece. And the Greeks had their heroes. Achilles and them kind of guys there. So within the concept of modern day Roman society, what Rastaman called Babylon have them heroes too. But how can those heroes be the heroes of the Rastaman when the forces are diametrically opposed? So what is it that we're looking for when we talk about heroes? And how do we define and clarify and follow? Because ultimately, we tend to follow heroes. They said patterns and what they call models. So if it's a hero in the entertainment business, there's a hero in sporting business. There's a hero in all different phases of our lives. But as black people now, we get a sort of indoctrination into the concept of heroes through religious education. And I asked earlier, in your own memory, who is your religious hero? And if you don't find one right away, the next set of literature that they expose us to as children now is comics. So if it's not the Bible you're reading or being told about, you're into comics, comic book. And in the world of comics now, we engage with different type of heroes. Some of these heroes now we even call them superheroes. But they all carry a certain imagery and a certain message. One of the early heroes within the super world of cartoons is Superman. And Superman is a very interesting hero. Because again, the characteristics, brave and so on and so forth, but almost indestructible. This is a character who's almost indestructible. Him have one weakness. And the weakness now is based upon the planet where him come from. I want them look into these things where them teach us, and how we internalize these things, Superman comes from a different planet. So here we are now, locked in religious education about all things coming from Earth and Garden of Eden and this and that. And now we go and read a comic book. And the comic book now tell us about a hero who is not from the planet Earth. He's from a planet called Krypton. And on this planet now, it's a race of super people, supermen, and women. No. The imagination of this writer is something that I would want us to look into. Because this man is imagining a planet of supermen and superwomen far more advanced technologically than what is here on Earth. And we are reading about space technology. And that a planet is about to explode. And the parents of this child become conscious of the destruction that's imminent and decide to try to save the child. And put the child in a space vessel. And aim the child and the vessel to the planet Earth. Remember now, it's comic book we are reading now. But we have an imagination that is very vivid. So when the vessel leaves out of that planet Krypton, the planet explodes. Now in that explosion, they connect that explosion now to the asteroid belt that presently exists, which is a belt that has no real solid planet, but it's all about rocks broken up. It's like an asteroid explode. All right, so we're still in the cartoon world now, literature. And this vessel with this child is sent into this planet Earth. So somewhere along in the mountains of America, a little old man and his wife driving them car. And they look up into the sky and see a falling star. Something crashed to the earth, and them drive over there and look. And when them look and open it up, it's a little baby in it. But guess what happened now? It's a little white baby. Yeah, it's a little white baby. No, if that baby was a Chinese or a black baby, it will cause a different impression on your psyche. But coming from so far out in space, from a super intelligent race of people, comes a little white baby. Yeah. This little white child now is given a name. They call him Clark Kent. And he's going to be a newspaper journalist. But he has an alter ego because in the other life now, him is the Superman. So we get the concept of a hero. But attached to this hero now is an imagery. And the imagery shows us a super white man. Super white man. And we say, all right. And then we begin to read other heroes books and we realize that all of the heroes in the comics are white. This works on the subconscious mind. Because when you look into the real world and you look for heroes, the projection we're getting now is that black people are villains. And within black people now we can't find any heroes. So we have an issue now. How do we define heroes from a black man perspective? What kind of bravery must he demonstrate, and who are the forces that he is opposing? Because if we check our own self and our own history, our heroes have always been our liberators. Those who come to challenge the status that maintains African people as chattel and as units of labor. So maybe we need more heroes who have a perspective that is black and African. So the comic books introduce us to heroes, but these heroes, we can see them in imagery and they are white. In the biblical, there is no imagery in the book. But the imagery now is projected in the movies. And in the movies, you get the imagery now of what the heroes are in the Bible. And all of those images basically coming out of Hollywood. And we know what Hollywood is all about. It's about white. So is it strange that even in today's world, we still admire and have a sort of great amount of admiration for white people who are projected oftentimes in the role of our heroes? It's something that we're checking out. We are our black heroes. Metamorphosis.
It is not good to travel today, neither across the ocean. Deserts so dry, water thirst kill you. Too good to travel today, neither to cross the ocean. Deserts so dry, water thirst kill you. Kill you, kill you, kill you. Kill you, kill you. When it wet, it separate. When it down, it cramp your belly. Don't want to see you on the ground. Don't want to see you on the ground. The ground, the ground, the ground. Caution, my brother, caution, take it. Black soul, you black as shame. So black, so black, so black, so black, so black. I'm proud I'm black. I'm proud I'm black. I'm rejoicing I'm black. Who no black, I go black again. Who no black, I go black again. So black. My skin is black. So black. Oh, so black.
You got to read J.A. Rogers, world's great men of color. If you want to find heroes in literature, blackly heroes, we have to read not just King James version of reality. We have to read the world's greatest men of color, volumes 1 and 2. So we get to know about Imhotep, the first Christ. Should be our first hero, Imhotep.
He's black. So black. So black. So just good to travel today. Neither to cross the ocean. Desert so dry, water thirst kill you. Kill you. Oh, kill you. Don't go to travel today. Oh.
Feel trapped behind your glasses? Ever considered what life would be like to wake up to crisp, clear vision? LASIK vision correction may be just the answer you're looking for. At Caribbean LASIK Vision Center, our team of certified doctors and counselors are available for LASIK evaluation. Call us at 630-0958 or visit www.lasiccaribbean.com. We are conveniently located at 34 Lady Musgrave Road, CLVC, where technology meets the eye.
hero worshipping. One of the first heroes introduced to I and I that moved from just hero to worship is the Jesus. Again, in the biblical texts, Jesus is presented as a hero, savior of the world. What a title, comforter. So this is the highest level now of heroism, because heroes reach a point where sometimes them say them have to put them life on the line because the cause is so great. So this one now, who we here put him life on the line, not only give up him life, but him get it back. Why, what a serious hero. Yeah, give up him and get it back. All the other heroes that we know so far, for them one gone and don't come back. So this hero now is projected now that not just a regular hero that for worship, but it's a superhero. Because this one now conquered death. So this is it is so deeply imprinted in the subconscious of the African black people now who embrace heroes and hero worship and accept these ideas out of literature. Because we say heroes exist in real world or they exist as characters in literature. And we get most of our heroes as Hebrew literature characters. So we hear about David as a character, and the mind and the movies show you a little white boy. A little white boy. Cute. Because we get the imagery now out of the movies and Hollywood. So we're always getting a steady diet of white heroes. To the point wherein when the movies are dealing with black people's struggle, it's only when a white man appears that the black people can be relieved. It always take a white man to come and help finish off the job. So him is always a hero. So it's a strategy. And it's sustained by the movies, the media, literature. So we see a little David, a little white boy, and we empathize with him. And then when they project Goliath, it's this big, dark skin looking brother with one eye, one black eye in the middle of his head. And automatically, we rally behind David. And David now becomes a hero. King David. The same king now that will send our next man out to war so him can dead, so him can get the man wife. And we hold these images as heroes. So you see, we're conflicted. We are conflicted. And we have to stop and re-examine now some of these heroes that we have been holding on to at the subconscious level. We have been holding on to Moses as a leader and a savior of a people who were enslaved. But we're not recognizing the murderer and the robber. Yeah, so we're selecting characteristics that we think are positive, and we're ignoring the ones that are negative and calling those people heroes. Look here, man, we have to just Lego the whole thing. Those guys in the characters and history cannot be heroes if their movements help to enslave the minds of black people. So when you read about a man who come out of Egypt, the Egyptians, as a set of historians, have no knowledge of any Moses. They have no knowledge of any Exodus. But this man leaves and goes to a Red Sea and puts out his rod and part the sea. All them kind of fabrications. They use the word miracle. And all of these are possible within literature. In literature, everything is possible because it's literature. So the cow can jump over the moon in literature. And the dish can run away with a spoon in literature. But in reality, where time and space and mind become the parameters within which things happen, that's the fantasy. So we have sporting heroes who black people now turn to this arena oftentimes for inspiration. Because it's this arena now that we dominate in real terms, in real life. And we have world record setters and people who overcome adversity against all odds and defeat and overcome and do the things that give them the status of heroes. So it looks like it's only in the sporting world and entertainment black people can find heroes that look like them. When we go into the other areas of science and technology and politics, we're not finding black people being elevated to be the hero status. It's for us to make people like Francis Cresswell sing. We have to turn these people into our heroines. Dr. Ben Yochanan should be just like how the Pope can take a man who was a bishop and when him dead him say some things and suddenly the man turned into a saint. And then a couple years later them do something again and him become a deity. We have to begin to move our black leaders in that same direction. We have to deify our own leaders. So Marcus Garvey, for example, we have to wait now on the political government to transform Garvey from a national hero into a political or a deity. We can transform Garvey into a god. We can transform Garvey into a saint. It's only the Europeans can do those things in a film clergy. So they maintain the hero pantheon amongst themselves. And when you want to find villains, you look amongst the black people. So I say all this now because we are in a position where we can make a change. We can begin to have our own parks and begin to put up our own heroes in stone if that's what is required. What are the qualifications? They've been arguing about Bob Marley and you know they're arguing about Louis Bennett. Bob Marley is already an internationally recognized hero because from the moment he could have bust out of Jamaica, that alone make him a hero. Yeah, because the oppression here is so great, not just for the normal black man, but for the Rasta man. So when the Rasta man could have overcome the Roman structures established here and get to the global state, then the state of Jamaica tried to grab onto the man. And into grabbing onto Bob Marley, now them trying to separate Bob Marley from Rastafari. They try to separate Bob Marley from his black mother and identify him now with a man who come from England who drop a sperm donor. So we have to know what we do. We have to create our own pantheon of heroes and set up our own heroes there and our own parks where we put the money together because without the money, enough things can be done. They just chat. So where is J.A. Rogers in the park? Where is a real Garvey statue? Where is the heroes and the sheroes that our next generation can come and recognize? My brethren Philip Henry say immortal art. We should begin to immortalize our heroes that they will live forever and that the generation that come will realize that what they have seen is just a part of the process and that the journey must continue. So we have to begin to build heroes outside of sports and entertainment, heroes in politics, heroes in government, heroes in economics, Yes, our own heroes and sheroes. Metamorphosis. Bonnie Wheeler, recognized by the Crown, given an award at the last Heroes Day thing. They also gave something to Muta Baruka sometime last year. I am saying and I'm wondering, can Rastafari really be a national hero in a place like Jamaica? How can that be? How can a Rastaman be considered a national hero in a place like Jamaica? Because the thing that the Rastaman stand for is not what the state stand for. The state is almost in direct opposition to Rastaman. So how and when will the Queen acknowledge the Rastaman as a hero in this nation? Because remember now, at the foundation of Rastafari, is His Imperial Majesty. And everybody try to go around that and talk about the food and the culture and the music and all of this. At the essence of Rastafari as a resistance movie is the presence and the meditation on and towards His Imperial Majesty, Haile Selassie I. Now, when the Rastaman hold that meditation, it becomes an affront to the state and to the politics and to the Roman Empire. Because the Rastaman is saying that him not into nothing with the concept of your Savior, Jesus. Rastaman not into no concept of a Savior named no Jesus. And it's not because of how the name spell. I am talking now, I am on personally now, not because of no J. And the J was a recently invented letter, so the man never named Jesus, he named Yeshua. Even that, may I tell you now, I am not into no concept of no Yeshua as no Savior. Because the whole idea of a Savior is what causes one to become impotent in them thinking. And Rastafari, as a resistance to Rome, is motivated by liberation of the thoughts, liberation of the thinking process. So how and when will a state like Jamaica come to terms with a man who is saying something different and opposite when it comes to ideology and religion? Because the state of Jamaica is really religiously governed by the Christians, Anglican and Catholic, and now the Seventh-day Adventists. Because Seventh-day Adventists have now reached into the Governor General's residence. So it's those three religious organizations really run Jamaica. And all three of them see Rastafari as an affront. Because all three of them say Jesus. And Rastaman say, we not support no savior. The only savior that we know is the consciousness within. And the only comforter is the teachings of His Majesty. That is a comfort. So, I don't know how this is going to work in a place like Jamaica. It's hypocritical then to call for Bob Marley to be national hero. A man who have so much different baby mother. How does that uphold the principles of what the Roman Catholic Church talking about monogamy and the life and one man and one wife and two children and a cat and a dog? How are you going to reconcile that? How are you going to reconcile the smoking of the ganja as a meditation? Now it's being decriminalized so money can make. But it has nothing to do with Rastafari. So it's a hypocrisy continuously. There's a British artist, Zephaniah. The Queen tried to bring him into a fair thing and give him some award. He must run them. Yeah, tell her keep it. Some CBE, some CD, some letter business. They want to put behind the Virgin name. And he must say, no, I'm not that. Because it is not a part of the Roman philosophical structure. I'm not that. His whole effort is to turn it upside down and to tear it down. So how is it the thing that you're trying to tear down giving you an award and you go and take it? It means that you have been co-opted in a very quiet way. So I say these things now because we need heroes now who don't necessarily want to be a part of the status quo. Every time a hero rise up or a leader, the state give him something, and buy him out or buy her out. And here, so the person now is working on behalf of the state. So where is the militancy and the vision and that self-reliance? We need to have that we can get some real heroes in this time. In North America, in the 60s, some real black hero rise, organize themselves into political movements. We need some heroes. We don't just want to have memories of Sam Sharp and Paul Bogle, and every year we go around and sing the same songs. We want some heroes in the practical world now. Leadership that would put the issues of black people now on the front. And I suggest that some economic policy need to be put in place. And I always say that agriculture and industry together will give us a hemp liberation, hemp economic liberation. And we need leadership. The man with a small, even half acre. And we need a pilot project. I say it again. And we ask the ones who want to get involved in this type of leadership. We will have a pilot project, 1 acre of hemp, half an acre of hemp. And we do what has to be done to bring it to fruition and bring the media and bring the government and bring all the stakeholders and make them observe this half an acre of hemp. What can be gotten from that? The amount of oil and paper and production. So we can get money. We need leadership and heroes in economics for black people. No. Metamorphosis. Yeah, the heroes of our liberation, we can find them on the African continent. Those who put up resistance to the slave traders. Those who were part of the wars against the Europeans. Those are our early set of heroes who are unrecognized. Yes. God, this is resistance. It's the resistance to the oppression, resistance to slavery. And out of that resistance have come nearly all of the black heroes. And the heroes that we're talking about now are heroes of the race. We have all different types of heroes, as you realize. But we have heroes who are heroes of the race. Nanny, Sharp, Bogle. Heroes of the race. In other words, race first is the agenda for those heroes. William Gordon and Manley and Buster. These heroes are the concept of class first. These heroes weren't interested in the race. So them never deal with the black people for who they are. Them deal with an issue of class. And class is all driven now by your economic condition first and foremost and your education. So automatically, the majority of black people would never be in the class that I am making reference to. So I want to focus more on the leaders and the heroes of the race. Toussaint Louverture. The leaders who put race first. And we need more of those type of leaders now on the Jamaica Island. But these are the leaders who the Jamaica Island plantation governments try to get rid of. And we have examples of that. The first example was Marcus Garvey. And Garvey established the People's Political Party and began to talk about race first. Them get him out of the country. Yeah, them get him out of Jamaica. And Garvey landed in a place where the people were just dreaming and praying for a leader like Garvey. So he would automatically become a hero based on what he was doing here in Jamaica when he landed in Harlem. Yeah, the leadership was there and the ingenuity, all the things that are required to overcome adversity and help the people them come to them senses. So we need racial leaders, leaders of with racial consciousness right across the globe now. So we have to begin to reconstruct our own ideas and of our own liberation and maybe how we view our own heroes. Now, it is one thing to have a sporting hero. It's one thing to have a political hero. But you know that within our everyday life, every day, each person can be a hero. Yeah, each day in your own trading, you can be a hero based upon how you conduct yourself, how you deal with adversity, how you apply your ingenuity, how you overcome obstacles. So, it is not something that is limited or exclusive to just a certain type of people. You can be a hero in your household. Yeah, you can be the hero to your children. Where your children look to you for motivation and inspiration. Daddy is my hero. Mommy is my hero. And how you conduct yourself provide that motivation and inspiration for that child. So it's a perspective we're trying to develop and create and realize that we have to let go certain images that we call heroes and we have to redevelop and reconstruct a different set of heroes. There are people who think that, for example, Vybz Kartel, that it is he represents a poor example of a hero because of maybe him lifestyle or him look and whatever. But to many people, he has overcome adversity. He has demonstrated ingenuity. All sorts of things to rise within his own field. And some people will see him as their hero. And others will go to the extent where they begin to worship their hero. So we have to be careful now. And ultimately now, this supreme hero that we're getting in the Western world, whether we want to acknowledge it or not, is the Son of God. That is the concept that really represents the superhero. And until black people now begin to deconstruct, until we begin to clearly realize that this worship of this hero is not a liberating process for black people. Because for 2018 years, we have been locked into worship of this character as a hero, as a savior. And the condition of the African people for the last 2018 years has not improved. It has deteriorated. So the stronger we go into worshiping of this hero, is the more we lose our identity. And I will say it this way, to accept Christianity is to surrender to white domination. Metamorphosis.
Guess what? Styles FM has a new business number for you to call, text, and now WhatsApp. 518-2399. To advertise your business and events, call, text, or WhatsApp us on
518-2399. 518-2399.
Don't forget, 518-2399.
Do you have or are you seeking a place to rent, seeking employment or have a job vacancy? Are you selling a car or having a garage sale? Then come see us. Let Styles do the advertising for you and you'll be on your way in no time. Contact us at 876-286-9216 or 439-5160. Advertising Style. Advertise with Styles.
This feeling is taking over me. I'm so excited.
Feel the euphoria.
Tuesdays from 5 to 9 p.m. with the Master Mixer Musical Maestro Digital Team.
Giving a total satisfaction with melodies and memories by the score. With the widest selection of genres and hits. So you don't know the program you turn up, you know. So you know Patek's a full dance, the one you slap with.
Digital and we are party. Yeah, we flawless. Euphoria the program. Every Tuesday.
5 to 9. Every Tuesday.
With the Musical Maestro Digital Team.
Are you sick of living an average life and tired of just getting by? Do you want to take your life to the next level? Learn the secrets of the super successful. Listen to Power in a Half Hour with Coach Mark this and every Wednesday night on Styles FM from 9 to 10 p.m. Learn the habits of the super successful and how to make these habits work for you. Learn to turn your dreams and desires into reality. You can win in the game of life. Let Coach Mark show you how. Every Wednesday night on Styles FM from 9 to 10 p.m.
Clifford Guest House, sponsor of Metamorphosis on Monday nights from 9 p.m. to 12 midnight with Dr. Iman Black. Located at 15 Queen Street, Port Antonio, that's Titchfield Hill, they offer accommodations for up to 1 month. Call them at 285-0610 for more information.
Every one of us want progress, as I would say, but some of us can't stand success, as I would tell you. Why when one trying to do a thing of his own, you know, something kind of progressive, yeah, something kind of your own. Time when you don't check what another person's do, as I would say, don't check them at all. You got to learn to do one or thing, as I would say. Watch your step on, don't you take no step, as I would tell you.
a stone. David slew him with a marble stone, as I would say. Top of minute, boom down there. With a marble stone, as I would say. Little David do to big Goliath, as I would tell you. You come to tell me that you are. You say that you are the follower. But I no follow. I create and I don't try to do all of people's things, I would say. Boom down there. Down there. Righteousness stands forever, as I would say. Down there. You see the little kids going down the street this day. Love each and every one of them, as I would say. Boom down there. Boom down there. So your mama got to be down there. Your papa got to be down there, as I would say. Each and every one of us has got to be down there. Got to come with love, as I would say. Love and happiness, as I would say.
Yeah, the sound of Mighty Big Youth. L is for heroes. So now that we have our heroes, and the Christian world tells us that there is a place after death, heaven and hell, where do our heroes go? Raise a tune there. Heroes go to heaven, heroes go to hell. Make we hear a Big Youth, I say. Bring up the music. Yeah, so the reasoning, revolves around heroes and the whole Christian concept now of life and death. Because I remember now, the plantation is run by one book. The book that they give us on Sundays to recite and memorize and regurgitate. And one of the greatest fears in that book that we are taught about is the fear of hell. Yes, where there is eternal fire, lake of fire, and you burn without being burnt. Yeah, eternal fire. No, how do we reconcile hell with our heroes? So, Paul Bogle and Nanny, let us leave Nanny first, because Nanny slaughtered enough of the British in return for what they did. So, Nanny in the first place, because she's not a Christian, there is no way she can go into heaven or hell, because she's not into that world. She's not into the Christian world. Her meditation and her history and her culture doesn't make her have any conception of heaven and hell at death. So Nanny passed on, and she has not gone to the Christian heaven nor the Christian hell. So she gone, and you can't find out where she there. But once you lock up into Christianity and the Christian world, you have a destination now. Because them say something else moving on now, the thing that them say most precious, your invisible soul. After them brutalize your body and whip you and chain you up and brand you and everything, and torture you for 60, 70 years. Them say, don't worry about that. The best part you have left, and you shall enjoy that best part at death. So we have no evidence now, There is no evidence of any form of satisfaction at death. But the teachings force the belief into you that this thing now will move on. And I'm saying now, where does this thing go that our heroes have? Marcus Garvey, for example, now, we imbue him with a soul and a spirit. He's physically dead, so are we saying that Garvey is in heaven or Garvey in hell. And who would define that? Who decides what goes where, if anything, going anywhere? But if you follow the reasoning, it would appear that those who are heroes cannot get into heaven. Yeah. Because if they could get into heaven, they wouldn't have to be contesting and struggling so much while they're on earth in life. They wouldn't have to be resisting oppression. So I am saying, our heroes, Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, Patrice Lumumba, Franz Fanon, Harriet Tubman, hundreds and thousands of our black heroes. None of them is in heaven. None of them is in heaven because the things that they have done are not of heavenly characteristics. So it's hell, all of them there. So heroes, just know say, it's hell you go. But guess what happened now? Hell is not what they tell us. And what they tell us, how it really go is so, we don't have no problem with it. Because if hell is hot, that is the nature of our life. We live in the sun. Hell going to have all the reggae music. Heaven will have all the gospel music. The ganja going to smoke in hell because there are no smoking sign in heaven. All the nice girl them. All the nice girl them, I tell you no. You know, I talk about the one who call themselves Prince and Stush. All of the nice, culturally grounded Rasta woman them. Is hell them a go. One session in a hell. And it's not down anywhere. It's right here. It's right here. So me I say from now, me can't say any of our heroes can get into the Christian heaven. Them behavior was not up to scratch. Because they was always fighting and fighting and fighting. So the heaven and the hell construction, it does not apply to Nani. Nani was not a Christian. Nani was a Muslim. Which means heaven and hell really is an imaginary construct that is in the minds of the Christian population but does not exist in reality. Metamorphosis.
That's TafarI. And I saw an angel ascended from the east, having the seal of the living King, Emperor Haile Selassie I, the Most High. And he cried out with a loud voice, saying, oh, oh, it's a raggy road, the road is so rough, a raggy road, the road is so tough, a raggy road is so rough, raggy road, yeah, he will have it. Treading this road for the longest while, I make a career, none for them want to soul, hey. Treading this road for the longest while, and never you try papa fall another man coil. Treading this road for the longest while, a long time David House and them no stop till the soil. Treading this road for the longest while, and give away more than 1/10 of the spoil. Treading this road for the longest while, until my lamb never run out child. This one you're free, go tell them I'm not bargain, tell them I'm not deal. Enough for them no one put them shoulder to the wheel, so them go rape, them go rob and them go kill and steal. All I try eat all another man heal. We no deaf, we no dumb, we no blind figure feel. One man was worthy to open the seal. Emperor Selassie I know he's real. Babylon get trampled under me. Raggy road, road is so rough. Raggy road, the road is so tough. Raggy road, road is so rough. Raggy road, yeah, we love him. Dragging this road for the longest while, still make a career, enough for them walk the soil. Hey. Dragging this road for the longest while, and never you try papa fall another man coil. Treading this road for the longest while, a long time. The prophet and him no stop till the soil. Treading this road for the longest while, and give away more than 1/10 of the spoil. Treading this road for the longest while, and still my lamb never run out to high. Well, enough for them, go get
get you overboard. Like Henry Morgan with the pirate code. None for them a trod up on corruption road. None for them a trod with Satan every lord. To them promote, get them dead for wheat and roast. The bingy man no monkey, bingy man no pose. Bingy man now wear up them Babylon clothes. In a me turban and me Asian robe. With them a confused, we come fi expose the righteous works. No try oppose. I see judgment to take them evil episode. Judgment take them and then them explode. Well, it is a raggy road. The road is so rough. Raggy road. The road is so tough. Raggy road. Road is so rough. Raggy road. Yeah. Well, it is a raggy road. Emmanuel goes so rough. Raggy road. Still I see I go so rough. Raggy road. Marcus road so rough.
Because it said, here comes the judge. See? And that does not mean the judge in what they call in our colonial judiciary system. See, in our imperial judiciary system. I mean the judge of righteousness.
Here comes the judge. Hear ye him. Oh yeah, God save the African king. Anyone have anything to say before this just judge? Come say it now and say it like you're glad, and not like you're mad. For this judge have no mercy in this time.
Court's in session, silence in the court. The court's in session, silence in the court. The court's in session, silence in the court. The court's in session.
Christopher Cumberlas?
Yes, sir.
Francis Drake?
Yes, my lord.
Bartholomew de las Casas?
Your Honor.
Vasco da Gama?
Present. Majesty.
Alexander so-called the Great?
I am here.
John Hannon?
Sir.
James Grant?
Your Honor.
David Livingstone?
Yes, present. Miranda, present.
John Constantine?
Yes, sir.
Henry Martin?
Yeah.
Arthur Polo?
Yes, sir.
Now say after me. I solemnly swear that the evidence I shall give shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Silence in the court. The court's in session. 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 Silence in the court. The court's in session.
You're all brought here and count one. Robbing and raping Africa. Anthem. 2. Stealing black people out of Africa. 3. Brainwashing black people. 4. Holding black people in captive for more than 300 years. 5. Killing over 50 million black people without a cause. 6. Teaching black people to hate themselves. 10.
Execution, Your Honor.
10.
Silence in the court's in session. Silence in the court.
If any of you have anything to say before this execution, say it quick. Say it glad. This judge is getting impatient.
Execution time. The heroes of Europe have been given to us in the books, in our education system. Francis Drake, Vasco da Gama, John Hawkins, Livingstone and Stanley, Henry Morgan. Now, I have been given these men and their lives, and they've been presented to us as heroes. Columbus is considered to be one of the great heroes of Europe. But it's the same Columbus who led the destruction of the Taínos. So the Taínos could never ever view Columbus as a hero. Columbus is a villain. And same thing for the black people now, who get caught up into the Western world and education system and have been indoctrinated into viewing Columbus as a hero. So here we are reading how Columbus discovered Jamaica, discovered the Caribbean, and the books project him as a hero. He is a hero to the Spanish, but he's the enemy of the African people. It's the same way the Pope. The Pope is one of the greatest heroes in the whole world of Christianity and the Catholic world. The Pope represents Jesus Christ on the earth. He is supposed to be the vicar of Jesus. But the Pope and the papacy have been the leading agents of the enslavement of African people. They have been at the forefront. So how can the Pope and his followers be part of our hero worship? How can we worship the symbol of the salvation projected by the Pope and the Catholic Church? So we have to be careful again and begin to purge ourselves of these aliens that we embrace as heroes. Alexander, we read history and they call him Alexander the Great. But Alexander led the destruction of thousands of books in the libraries and the temples of ancient Egypt. But in the textbook, Alexander is projected as a hero. So we have to begin to reread and re-examine these men and women that we hold at a subconscious level as a hero, because there's a tendency to worship heroes. The Chinaman has his own pantheon of heroes. And in the Chinaman's pantheon of heroes, there's not much space for white people, nor for directly Africans. They find heroes in them within their own culture. So we have to get racial. We have to get racial and begin to think about heroes that are defending the race. Walter Rodney, Dr. Walter Rodney, recognized as an intellectual hero. His defense was his calling and his mission was to defend the race of black people. He had achieved his individual levels of education. The next mission was to serve the race. And we need more of this type of heroism amongst black people. The white man has his heroes in science. A couple of days ago, astronauts them head off for the International Space Station. And within 5 minutes or less, they had to abort the journey. The man have to turn forward and escape and return to the earth. Those men are now called heroes because they've overcome great adversity. All I'm saying, I and I must begin to work on developing heroes amongst our black people. A consciousness where the race becomes more important than the money. Can we get to that stage where we begin to look about the interests of the race that we're in more than the personal gain of money? So we'll just put all these reasonings for ones and ones to think it through, because they have us here celebrating Heroes Day and the day is over, and next week is a different thing. Next month is a different cycle. Soon it take us into Christmas and we're onto the Jesus hero worship again. And in that imagery, we don't see the concept of ourselves. And you know that there's a great debate about Jesus now, right through the social networks. And the argument about whether Jesus was white or not, and the argument now as to whether Jesus existed or not. All of this is great, because we must question what they give us as concrete. We must examine the mortar and look at the sand and the level of gravel in it to see if it can hold up. And if not, We let it go. Metamorphosis.
Babylon, yeah, you queen of my falling, doubling down and Rahab, Ethiopia calling, I hear a calling, mystery Babylon, your queen of my falling, down to the ground and Rahab, Ethiopia.
We also have to make room to celebrate our intellectual heroes. The ones who are able to push beyond the box, the rectangle. Yeah, the intellectual aspects, oftentimes ignored. So when you have a intellectual like the man who wrote the book, They Came Before Columbus, coming out of Guyana. It is this book that allows even I and I in the region of the Caribbean to realize that the history projected by the British is just only for the eyes of the British. And it's through Ivan van Sertima, Dr. Ivan van Sertima, that we get insights into this region 20,000 years before the Christian era. So this man must be projected as one of our intellectual heroes to remove so much morass out of the way and allow us to look 20,000 years before the Christian era inside this region called the Caribbean, and see Africans and see black cultures, see Egyptians, see the Mayans, all these various civilizations occupying this region. So we must always respect our intellectual giants. Dr. Francis Cresswell Singh, who brought to us the real insight about genetics and allowed us to understand racism, white racism, and the inefficiencies of the Caucasian and its fear of genetic annihilation. So we don't hear about these heroes now being projected in our society and in our schools. We're still getting the European heroes, still getting Socrates and Plato and Aristotle and Einstein and Darwin. Getting a whole set of European intellectuals, and these become the gods and the heroes. We have to look into the African construction of the mind. Dr. Amos Wilson, Professor Henry Clark. We have a whole pantheon of heroes, intellectual heroes that should be deified and called gods. In the same way the Greeks could call Socrates an intellectual god. It's the same way we have to call the people who Socrates went to for their own learning. Socrates had to come amongst I and I. He had to come amongst the gods of Africa, of the black continent. So when you talk about heroes now, we have to also respect the intellect and identify our intellectual heroes who oftentimes might become fearful of challenging the status quo and try to protect their own situation and families. But you know, we have to be able to rock the boat. And as Bob said, sometimes it's total destruction that is the only solution. So, heroes within the political struggle have a different concept of life and death. Heroes in a political struggle don't fear death as an end. They recognize that it's a journey and it's about continuity. And it's about maintaining the mission and focusing on the race and posterity. So we need some black political heroes again to rise up and to stake their position. Yeah, leadership is what we're talking about. Leadership. Metamorphosis.
Oh with all the things that men have earned to make things that frightens the world still can't help us, still can't help us, still can't help us.
Hail to the sons and daughters of Jah, Rastafari. Hail to the one who got the faith in El Selassie, I and I. Listen to me, I said I really got the feeling. I got the Rasta feeling. I really got the spirit. I got the Rasta spirit. I got the Rasta feeling. I said I got the feeling. I said I got the feeling. I got the Rasta feeling. Oh, got the spirit. Look here. Hear what I say. Oh. People can hear every word you say. Don't let them take your culture away. Because you got the spirit. Girl, I got the spirit. By the time you leave, I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting. Waiting there for you. I'ma wait for you, yeah. And by the time you leave, I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting. Waiting there for you. I'll be waiting, I'll be for you. Yeah, look at that. I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting there for you. Look at now. You will realize that there is nothing wrong when you search yourself and find you're not so strong. No one's to be blamed, 'cause your mother said it, father said it, everybody couldn't be the same. You've got to live and love.
sounds of the mighty, mighty King of Rock and Soul. You know, claim that there's only one King of Reggae music. I disagree with that totally. We have a pantheon of kings of this music. And willing to be locked into this one man can be Bob Marley and Bob Marley and Bob Marley and Bob Marley. But the white media loves that. And within the culture of Jamaica, it looks like we're stuck. Like we can't go beyond Bob Marley. And not recognizing that Dennis Brown is also one of our kings. So is Alton. And so is Ken Booth, one of our living kings of reggae music. But we allow other people to come in and define our kings and our queens. They also define our heroes and heroines. So, we have to begin to take control and begin to define our own people, our own gods, our own deities. Yeah, we have the power to create our own deities. Because it's man create deities, It's the man that create the deity. We think it's a deity make man. It is the man who creates a deity as objects of his imagination and his thought and the power of the mind and the power of consciousness. So we're still here. I was hoping that ones and ones are engaging in thought, which is a wonderful thing, especially when you feel that there are no boundaries and there are no fears, recognizing that the center of your thinking, the center of your consciousness is a force. And that is a force we call the I. And that force is eternal. It is invisible. It is intangible. It is also immortal as energy. Because we know energy cannot be destroyed. Energy cannot be created. Energy just goes through transformation. So death, which is a transformation, people want to see the energy that they have while they're alive transform into another stage and remain as a personality. But I will give you my analogy of that transition. It's like the rain clouds release water, and every drop is an individual. Every raindrop is an individual with its own individuality. And by the time it leaves the clouds to come to the ground, that is its lifespan. And when it reaches the ocean, it no longer exists as an individual drop of water. Its identity becomes dissolved into the everything, which is the whole energy field called the ocean. And I'm saying within the individual man, that I consciousness that Christians trying to hold on to when the body expires cannot be held on to. And there's no place to store it up. That energy transforms itself into your children. And if you don't have any children and you want the energy to remain, you have to create something. Create some books, create some music, create some artwork, create that image that my brethren says will make you immortal. And so you remain alive in the memory of those who are living. So the real heroes of the racial struggle have no fear of death. Because Nanny was fearless of death, and so was Garvey, and so was Sam Sharp, and so was Bogle. Because there is a knowledge that the death is not the end. Because there's no need for the personality to try to maintain an existence in some other dimension, in some strange dimension. Personality is what we create in the earth through experience. We develop a personality through society, through family, and through our genetics and our various ways of thinking. But at death, that cannot be preserved. So we have to try to hold on to that. The whole concept about living is learning to let go. But the Christian religion drives fear into you, so you're trying to hold on. Yet you can't get into heaven unless you let go. So we talk about mental illness. And Christianity is the highest form of insanity. Metamorphosis.
A king would never fear them. So what them a go do when them hear this one? Bang bang.
No take tellings, want me no fi say this. Man, we see your farm and gone in and you let this. People mean your harm, you can't tell what a friend is. Grudge you for your paper, scorn you for your pennies. When you no see me gone, forget replenish. Back up in the morning, can't forget the message, no. Avocado, she feel for me, senny. Yeah, man, banana is sweet, pushy belly. Jeez, I want make life sweet, so like a jelly. Climb feet, it hard, can't easy, so forget it. Sang the on the radio, video pan it telly. Love in a me heart, me a spread the catchy medi.
People, oh people, expectation. Will they love you? No guarantee. People, oh people, need salvation. Will they save you? No guarantee. Ain't no guarantee.
Some no like how you live, want fi carry you go court. Some will burn every bridge and still I look for support. Jealousy is a cloud, check the weather report. That's why me tighten the ship and then me arm up the fort. Now the biggest of foes, once the closest of friends. But you know how it goes, how the fake will pretend. Some will shake off your hand and break bread in your house. Soon as you turn your back, them will run up on your spouse. Some will say you no rat, and you jump in a Benz. Like me never see still I see in a couple of them. Some will watch what you earn and account what you spend. Always want if you borrow, never have if you lend. But you see
People, oh people, expectation. Will they love
Yeah, Metamorphosis winding down to the final 10 minutes of the program. I man will tell you that within my own life, my first hero in a real world outside of literature was a musician. And they're talking about when I was before 5 years old, or maybe around 5 years old or thereabouts, I became familiar with Satchmo. But because I had a radio in my house, telefunking and all them kind of things, I used to listen to BBC and listen to all kind of stuff. And Satchmo and him horn, that man just captivated me, Louis Satchmo. And Satchmo came to Jamaica when I was a youth. I remember vividly that he was going to perform at Race Course. And I have no idea where it was related to where I used to live. But there was no same there Race Course. And I cry all evening. Ball. Oh, me want to see Satchmo. So that was an impact on me early. Satchmo. My next real hero was in football. And that was Pele. And these are two men who motivate I. Both musically, I never knew Satchmo had such an influence on my desire to be to get involved in music. I'm not a musician, but I play music and just love it and always around it. The football thing, I could manage. Pele was my hero. And my dream and desire was to meet Pele and play with him. And believe it or not, it happened. So that's the power of the motivation of a hero. That I could leave barefooted football in the streets of Mars Drive, Harborview, and reach to the stadium in New Jersey and to grace the same play field with the king, greatest player of all time. Highly motivated, inspiring. And that's what heroes are supposed to do, inspire you. But I will tell you something about heroes and images now. I had to be involved with a German coach at the college level. His name was Ficken, Dieter Ficken, and I can't forget this man. And we're talking about football, this is in the 70s. And of course, we're talking about the great Pele, and him say yes, he recognized Pele as the greatest player, but guess what? Him say he would never put a picture of Pele in his house. And all the way as youth, look for one another, like other Jamaican friends, I'm a Trinidadian friend, them. And I say, we have to ask him, Dieter, what do you mean by that? Someone said, Dieter, what do you mean? Why you wouldn't have a poster of Pele in your house? Everybody wants a Pele poster. Him say, yes, Pele is the greatest, but him don't want his son. Him don't want his son to worship Pele as the greatest player. Yeah, him didn't want his son to have a black man as a hero. So this is how serious him take it. Just as we as a black people don't take it that serious. So we can have a white image of a Jesus in our house. Yeah, just think about it. The importance of the image and the hero and the worship. So this German, Afrikan, doesn't want his son to have in the subconscious desire to worship black people as heroes. What do you think happened to us when we put up these images in our house and walk with these things around our necks? We walk with crosses. We walk with an inferiority mentality because we are worshiping aliens and others. Time for the change.
Watch no face, beg no more pardon. Enough drugs, money they a cherry garden. Enough individual society applauding. You can ask anybody where them get them starting. But no politician take a donation. So no criminal will never see a station. Never see a cell, not even a courthouse. But every Sunday we see them take a boat out. North Coast Resort and car dealership. The construction company, them just don't legit. Usually wash the money, turn it round and hide it. When the kickback them come in, the government delighted. So police cancel operation, cause no real bad man a go station. Now if you check the situation, a blood money running nation. Come take a look in a Jamaica. Injustice in the place now. If what you see no really face you, then you are the problem what we face though. Was about
Bigger moving, kill this track.
Listen to me now, brother.
Where you stand,
contradicting yourself.
Run it Salvador, tell them say.
Listen to me now.
Contradiction is global.
Yeah, contradiction global. The madness taking over. Too much man in a mix up. One bag a mix up. Rasta and himself.
Contradiction global. Still good conquer evil. David still struggle Goliath. Make one wall a vibe, yeah. Too many idolize badness and slackness. Island in the sun just falling in a darkness. One love and one heart where the heart there. Nowadays you no cool if you no heartless. Flashy with a 9 like you lawless. Like justice I buy out a wallet. Well that a 6 for a 9 and a 9. You know the waste then a sentence to life car.
Contradiction global. The madness taking over. Too much man in a mix up. One bag a mix up. Rasta and himself.
Contradiction global. Still good conquer evil.
Yeah, metamorphosis winding down. I just want to make a point that is not necessarily related to the previous set of reasonings. It has to do with this cry consistently for reparations. And the cry has been going out ever since. And we see that other groups of people have been getting compensation for the atrocities that have reached them. All the groups are getting it except the black people, except the Africans. But I think that perhaps the focus of our demand should shift from these governments, the British and these other governments, and should be directed right to the Vatican. Yeah, Pope Francis. I think all of those who are involved in the reparations movement, must begin to pen a document towards the Vatican and Pope Francis, since him live, and put it to them that the church as an institution owes black people whole heap of things, reparations. And the first form of reparations the church can observe is the reparations of land. The church in Jamaica particularly own a whole heap of land. The church must free up the lands and give the people the land that they can feel that they're a part of the island. The Prime Minister keeps talking about nation building. Nation building needs people who feel as though they're a part of the nation itself in a practical way. The church owe black people the reparations that the British government hiding from. We should direct our cry and our claims to the Vatican. Now is the time we must chant on Rome. We must chant down Pope Francis and force Francis to respond to the needs and the cry for reparation. Any other church said no. We don't know what our response should be. But the church has been at the front of the enslavement process from the days of the Spanish and the Portuguese. It is a papacy that separated the world and share up the world, the whole planet, between Spain and Portugal. Is the Pope done do that? The Pope done give the blessings to the ships that went into Africa and took out black people. One of the first ships that came out did name the Jesus. So I am saying reparations need to be focused, not on the English government, but on the Vatican. It's the richest city on the earth. They are the ones who are the pirates and the pilots of the African enslavement. So I could put it to them. I could put it to them and see where we go from there. But you know that at the individual level, I don't think we must be spending too much energy pursuing this. We should spend our time reconstructing our own ways of thinking and doing and growing our hemp factories. And don't spend time chasing behind these people. But we must maintain a vigilance for reparations. But it's not an end result. We're not seeking a salvation through reparations. But reparations is due. And the Vatican owes us enough things. Land is what we want. Land.
Well read. Listen what the ancients have said. Things and times get injured. Yeah. I'm never gonna be.
Church, free up the lands. Free up the lands. Let the inner cities come back into the rural. We could depopulate urban Jamaica. Yes, the lands, the church, reparations. No.
Do not get it twisted, never gonna be a slave to them system. No bonus, stupid, in no wrist bling, never gonna be a slave. Never gonna be a slave, better to be brave. Okay. I man rather do some farming, plant up a couple acre than be a faker. I prefer be a fruit seller than a teller in a bank of Jamaica, bankrupt Jamaica. I prefer sell some books and some arts and crafts than see the Venn diagram on the boss man chart. They make a profit but the last man lost me, them not crucify on the cross. Babylon ain't easy. Said living in a Babylon ain't easy, no way. Temptation on my right and evil on my left. I'll stand up and fly. Oh yeah now, Sadama Sagana. To have some mercy, to keep me safe and guide me to travel on my way. Temptation is so strong, but I must fight it. I'll stand up and fight. Fight for my life. Oh yeah now, Sadama Sagana.
unrest. So remember, all highs is unrest.